Hello and welcome back, and today I want to talk about NAS brands. More precisely, I want to compare Synology and QNAP. I talk about these two brands a hell of a lot, and I swear I've done like 4 or 5 videos like this in the last 2 years, but it's constantly a question that's being asked, and because these brands are innovating and changing and developing more and more, this is a question that constantly changes. That's why these videos keep reoccurring, because all too often we see a new range for the year be released and then the goalposts shift, and which brand is better for those tasks and needs can adapt. Now, I'm going to change the format from my previous videos because all too often I kind of focus on individual models and compare them. So this time I just want to talk about the entire brand, the ethos, and what their priorities are and whether those priorities are in alignment with yours. I've dealt with a number of brands, not just these two, for a number of years now. So remember, what you are getting is my opinion. You may feel differently. We aren't going to talk too much about tech specs because we are going to talk about the brand in general, overall. Of course, we will refer to individual items, but so do bear that in mind. This is by no means gospel, and this is more about using my experience and my history to give you an idea and an opinion on these brands for you. So first and foremost, price. I hate to talk about it, it's terribly gauche to be wonderfully British, but price is a big factor. And all too often when you look at these two brands, Synology and QNAP, you look at the Synology and go, woof, that seems to cost a lot more. You even look a little harder with your PC brain and you look at the specs and go, why is it more expensive, for God's sake? It's got lesser hardware. And yes, if you look almost across the entire range of rack mount, desktop, 2-bay, 4-bay, whatever, across these two brands, you will find that Synology costs more, somewhere around 10 to 20% overall blanket across the range. Why is that? Well, that's because Synology is far more invested in software than it is in hardware, something we'll talk about later on. And QNAP is far more centered on hardware than software, although they really are ramping things up on that one. Definitely one to watch. So in terms of cost, obviously, if it's penny for penny for penny for penny, then you're going to go for a QNAP over a Synology. But do bear in mind that a QNAP does have a little bit more of a learning curve than a Synology, not just because the user interface is a little bit more factual with all the information being thrown at you, but on top of that, the Synology software is designed to be moderately idiot-proof. So if you've no experience in NAS and you have no interest in learning network abilities and configurations and the difference between a dynamic and a static IP and working out the port number and stuff like that, if these are things that you've got no interest in and you have no interest in learning in the future, pay a little extra for a Synology. Because although these things aren't essential with a QNAP, the QNAP is a more open play field, and it's something you're not going to take advantage of, and something that you'll just want something to sit there, shut up and do its job. So that's the main difference. In terms of cost, QNAP's going to be cheaper, but a Synology does give you, seemingly, in terms of time, a better value for money. So next, let's talk about hardware. Well, as already mentioned, QNAP focus a great deal more on hardware, both inside and outside. They are the true innovators of the NAS industry. From HDMI supporting HDMI 1.4 and 2.0 supporting 4K and 1080p output, as well as modifying third-party applications to be HDMI accessible with remote controls and Thunderbolt connectivity, direct attach storage, as well as NAS. There's just a huge host of abilities. They have a lot more 10 GBE solutions and stuff like that, and their chassis. They have a lot more metal chassis than they do plastic, and rack mount wise you get a lot more for your money. In terms of hardware, QNAP are the bomb compared to these two. And remember, that's about hardware. Synology seem to have this ethos about focusing on the software, and one of those things they do with that software is to eke a great deal more out of the hardware than any other brand. What that means in real terms is that a lot of their first party software runs stupendously well even on lesser hardware. Ergo, Synology don't give you the same kind of hardware that QNAP do. On top of that, Synology focus predominantly on network access rather than direct access, whereas QNAP give you kind of versatility across all of them. For as little as USB connectivity or direct capability connection, they also give you the internet connectivity and network connectivity too. Synology focus squarely on the network and internet connectivity. And again, in terms of hardware, that does bring those hardware limits down for them. So again, in terms of hardware, QNAP win that if it's something that's very, very important to you. But remember, it should never be about the hardware. What should it be about? The software, which brings us on to the next section, software. Which one should you be choosing for software? It's going to be Synology. Synology just kill at software. Some of their first party apps, Synology Office, Synology Chat, Synology Calendar, Synology Drive, Synology Moments, Active Backup, just all of these apps, check them out in my other videos, they are phenomenal. I mean, their first party stuff, they are challenging big third party ones like Google Docs, WhatsApp and Skype. They're challenging all of the Google Excel documents and calendar applications, as well as challenging Dropbox, challenging Google Drive, and all of them. They are giving you the versatility that those other brands give you without it being on the cloud. That's what Synology kind of want to give you with their software. They want to give you the ability to have the ease, peace of mind, and kind of user-friendly structure that the likes of Dropbox, Google Drive, and all of those cloud accounts give you, but without having to worry about your data on some floaty cloud up there. They give this to you on a local storage device. That means all of your storage is accessible to you, and no cloud in the world will give you the ability to disconnect that storage from the network and internet like a local storage. Why? Because a local storage, you just pull the cable out. You pull the network cable, no one's getting in that bad boy. QNAP, on the other hand, although their software is good, their first party apps are very, very good, and they're producing some great ones. QMaggie, one that was featured at CES for their photo recognition, the facial recognition and deep learning surveillance tools. They do have great first party apps, but their first party apps are just not as good as Synology's, because Synology have geared towards this. They've really focused, whereas QNAP have tried to balance hardware and software as much as possible, but it just doesn't compete on that level. They have great apps, but what QNAP does have is a better support of third-party apps. So if your business revolves around apps not made by the NAS brand, you are going to see an advantage to going towards a QNAP. But overall, Synology win. And we're going to wrap this up now on support services, because when you do buy any product, electronic or otherwise, you want to know that the brand is going to stand behind you, and you want to know that the device is largely supported by other brands. And in these terms, I do think Synology win. In terms of support and services, they just have more open to you, particularly for business users, but more for everyone else. A lot of their Plus series models, it's kind of like their flagship devices, 218 Plus, 718 Plus, 918 Plus, and getting bigger. All of those devices arrive with 3 years of manufacturer's warranty. If you go to some of their XS Plus series, it arrives with 5 years of warranty, 2 to 3 years of an advanced replacement service, and Synology Premium Services, which is the whole 24/7 call number, live chat, that sort of thing, and that's rolled in with a number of their bigger purchases. Whereas with QNAP, there is kind of almost across the entire range 2 years of warranty. Not much else, it's just 2 years. In some of their other devices, there's 3 and 5 years, but you've got to go ultra enterprise to get those services, something that you're just not given by the majority of their range, and it makes them quite special and exclusive. It makes it very hard to refer to them, because some people just want to spend 500 to 2 grand on a NAS, not 5 grand on a base model with no drives. So in terms of product and services, they've both got locations all over the world, and they've both got a great warranty system, you know, good swift turnaround and tech people on hand. But Synology just give you that little bit more. But I will add a quick addendum to this, because right now this is being recorded in January 2019. QNAP have really ramped things up in terms of support and services. They've opened up more locations worldwide, and I think we're going to start seeing longer warranties on a number of their products. But right now, as it stands in terms of support and services, I've got to give this one to Synology. And that's about it, really, about comparing these two brands. Again, I could have gone down the route about individual products and services, and I will be doing a series of videos on individual things like photos and videos and file management and backups, which is better. But on these core pillars of technology, that's where things stand across these two brands. I'm not going to say one's better than the other. I'm not going to say that on camera. I'm not going to say that anywhere. But what I will say, if you care about software and services and ease, Synology more than likely is the one for you, particularly you Mac users that just want something to sit there, do its job. You don't want a learning curve. On the other hand, if you've got a bit of technology, if you like configuration and you want something to work the way you want it to do in a very bespoke fashion, QNAP all the way. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. Don't forget to click like and subscribe on this channel. I don't have a Patreon or a donation system. This is just supported by your audience retention. So the more you watch and click like and subscribe, the more it supports this channel to help other people. Do take advantage of the advice section in the comments to NAS Compares. Free advice to any of your NAS purchases. I will help you. And otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.